Hi guys, it's about 12:19 Eastern on this Wednesday, August 8th. It is 11:19 Central on this Tuesday, August 7th, 2012. I'm Stephen Boyle. Well, here's what's going on across the country here. Well, overall, I think the main topic of conversation is the warmth and the dry weather that we're starting to see across the west, and the cooler, more wetter conditions that we're starting to see across the east. Now, I do have something to show you here. This is a pretty neat graphic. So over the next 5 days, rainfall that we're going to see over the next 5 days. Now, we all know about the drought, this persistent drought that we've been seeing across the whole East Coast over the past several weeks, actually over the course of the summer. Look at some of these areas. I mean, 3 to 5 inches of rain is expected into portions of the Northeast, 2 to maybe as much as 4 inches into portions of the Southeast. Just look at that. I mean, really, a lot of rain here. And even still, I mean, this whole region of the East, including Florida and all of New England, I mean, as little as an inch to as much as 5 inches of rain. So this is really interesting here. But then look back out here, practically no rain over the next 5 days, maybe a trace into some localized spots, but overall, the general pattern here is dry, and then look at how wet we're starting to get. This is the pattern that's really starting to shape up and that we'll probably see over the course of the next several months here. Probably will continue through the winter. So, moving back here, there is a flash flood watch into portions of Florida. Some excessive heat watches and warnings for portions of California and Arizona. Portions of Death Valley over the next week. How about 115 to 120 degrees? Very hot. Then we have some dry weather going on in through portions of Idaho, where we have some red flag warnings. And cool and across the Northeast. And we are going to see some rain coming up here on Thursday or Friday, particularly on Friday. So this is the NEAR model, and as we are taking a check here on the models here, you can sort of see there's that rain that comes up. Now, depending upon which model you look at, there is some differences here that we're starting to see. This is the Canadian model, and I really do like the Canadian model. I mean, look at all of this rain that we're getting in here across the Northeast. A lot of rain. Just look at that. I mean, tons of it. Okay, plenty of rain to go around. Plenty of rain for everyone. How about rain for all of the East? That sounds good to me. That low moves out and we stay fairly cool after that. So now let's take a check on the GFS. And again, the GFS during this model isn't really saying too much, but I really do believe that this low pressure system probably will drop some fairly nice rain amounts for us. And then overall, you can sort of see yet again another low pressure system that will probably do something similar. Now you can sort of see this interesting little low pressure system. This is actually a hurricane. And I mentioned this in my tropical update forecast that I put out here. The GFS model has been saying over the course of the past several days that a hurricane could be threatening the East Coast sometime around the 20th to the 23rd. I will continue to monitor this particular situation. This particular model doesn't really have it coming into the United States or really affecting the United States. What it would probably do is probably bring some pretty high waves for the East Coast, particularly eastern Massachusetts, Maine, New Hampshire, all of these regions. But overall, we cannot rule out the possible chance of a hurricane actually taking a direct hit into New England. So there's still some time here that we have to sort of figure out, and we still have to figure out what's going to happen. But I have been mentioning this over for the past couple days. No heat waves in sight for New England. However, heat waves galore for the West. We're talking about a lot of warmth, a lot of just a ton of warmth for the West, and a big old ridge that is just very persistent out there. Very persistent trough in the East. It looks like by the time the end of August rolls around, we may not be getting out of the low 70s, maybe even upper 60s here in the East, portions of the East, particularly New England. So that's what's going on. And actually, I was checking out some of the lows as well. Not even getting out of, I would not be surprised if extreme northern regions of New England start getting down into the low 40s by the end of the month. So that's what's going on. Some fairly cool weather starting to press its way in here. If you notice here, you can sort of see this 6 up here, this 9. This is some of that really cold air from Canada, and particularly that polar vortex is starting to shift its way southward. As we go through the next month or so, I would really start saying that this cold air is really going to start affecting the eastern half of the country, maybe if not the whole part of the whole nation. So I'm really starting to see a really good trend that's taken place, and this trend should last through the majority of the winter. So that's what's going on across the country. I'll be back with another update tomorrow, and I should have my winter forecast put out fairly soon. So take care, everyone, and we'll be back tomorrow with another update.